I'll say that.
Colors.
Colors.
She's mastered this thing called music, and she's absolutely fantastic. But you know what? Speaking of colors, how about you make your life colorful by getting yourself the new Samsung Galaxy S25 FE? And once you do that, you enjoy 24-month standard warranty plus Samsung Care Plus for accidental screen damage. Just register within 30 days of purchase, and this October, which is fast coming to an end, by the way, you get to enjoy discounted repairs on select out of warranty models at Samsung service centers nationwide. And for help, if you're a caller, 0800 545 545 or WhatsApp 0790 545 545. Samsung's got you covered. Warranty, Care Plus, and October discounts. Stay connected, stay protected with Samsung.
Absolutely. Now is the opportunity for us to jump into a conversation, destroy Fellaris's flight, but mid-flight, instead of the music, we get a chance to have a very meaningful conversation. So while you, Adrian, heads are waiting for the music, it'll be coming. Stick around from 8 o'clock. You will have nothing but DJ Adrian and Fellaris. And I'm still sticking around for that. But right now, we would love to have a conversation with our guests in studio. A funny story, Fellaris. Just this weekend, or leading to the past weekend,
The long
Friday,
weekend?
I think, yeah, Thursday, thereabouts. I was talking to a former ambassador to Kenya, Lotem.
Oh, Mikhail.
Yes, Mikhail, and we were just having a chat. He was checking up. He sent his greetings, but I'm a typical Kenyan who doesn't take those greetings. Salimiana! And then you get there and you don't even do what you were asked to do. But yeah, we're just catching up, and he reminded me of our visit to Israel. And when we were in Jerusalem, we managed to meet the man who's here in studio, the man who would come then and be the new ambassador of Israel to Kenya, who is actually with us right here, right now, Ambassador Gideon Behar. Now, I'm not certain I've said it, but I'm good at learning very quickly, and if I've mispronounced it, I will learn, and I'll learn very quickly. But we have the Israeli ambassador to Kenya from just recently, I remember you guys took your papers to the President of the Republic of Kenya, and officially we welcome you to Capital Studios. It is an absolute honor to have you. We are always glad to have the Israel family in the house. So, karibu sana, Ambassador.
Asante sana.
So did I say that name properly?
Yeah, you did said it right.
Okay, I did it some justice. Woo, hallelujah. All right, and then he's not here alone. We have quite the person. When we talk about resilience in life, you'd think, my boss is stressing me. I have to be resilient. My family is not going through the financial good times I was hoping for. That's resilience. Oh, you got a heartbreak in a relationship you shouldn't even be in. Then you think you're resilient. But when life is threatened, when the very air you breathe is at risk of being taken away from you, your very breath, now what you do from there, now that is what I call resilience. And that's why I'm very honored and proud to meet yet another survivor of October 7th. This is Maya Parizer. And I've practiced that, by the way. My goodness.
Your attempt is good.
It's not that bad.
Yeah?
I'm horrible at pronouncing names. But Maya, good morning. Welcome. And I hope I did some justice to your name.
Good morning, Asante. And almost, it's Parizer, like Paris.
Parizer.
Yes.
Parizer. There we go. So now we know. We'll just stick with Maya, and then Ambassador Behar, I think you and I can go with just Ambassador, and then Fellaris and I would just like to get to know you. So let's start off with you, Maya. Perhaps, I know it's something that you've had to do time and again, but we would appreciate it if you gave us a little bit of your story and the experience that you had October 7th as we build in how you've dealt with that and what your plans are.
So I'm Maya, 29 years old, living now in Ramat Gan with my husband Ron, who was fiance at the time of the festival, and this wasn't our first time going to a electronic trance music festival. I don't know if you've ever been in. It's just magical. Everyone gathers together, regardless of age, race, religion, and country you're from. People from all over the world came as well, DJs from all over the world. And you just dance up together, you meet new people. It's an amazing experience, and it actually supposed to be 17-hour long, starting up at midnight when it's dark and you just see all the decorations and sense the vibe, and then off to the sunrise, which is the most beautiful thing ever, because the sky starts to change as you're dancing and feeling free. And then ultimately with the sun, you finish up the festival around 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and it's supposed to be an amazing time. And when you come there, you meet a lot of people. Everyone's there, is so friendly, and no one cares about anything other than just having the best time. And coming to the festival on our holiday, our Jewish holiday, was my second time going to this production called Nova. And we were really looking forward to it. We were a big group of friends coming up together to celebrate. And it was the last thing we ever imagined could happen. We arrived around 2 in the morning with our equipment, because it's such a long festival. You need to bring a lot of stuff with you. And as we were driving inside, we were told to park our cars in the back of the. It's just an open. Okay, so this area is an open field. It's like a forest, just sand in your ground, trees, and they guard up. They put all these decorations and they guard it up so people can't, just run and enter. It costs a lot of money, this festival, and people were really looking forward to it. We only get the location of the festival a few hours before, and it always changes because, as I said, it's not like a club where it's not a fixed up place.
Yeah.
And we didn't know actually it was going to be close to the Gaza border at the time. We only knew it at the same day it started. Around 10 p.m. in the night, we received a text message with the location details. And because, as I mentioned before, it wasn't my first time going to this festival, the first time was actually canceled because of security reasons and postponed by a week. I trusted the production. I trusted that it's going to be safe, even though the place is safe. It's part of Israel. A lot of people living there, families, kids. But it's still, whenever there is rockets, they only have 10, 15 seconds to find safe place. And it is a little bit more alarming than just, partying in Tel Aviv. But it's not like I was scared to go there. This is part of Israel, for just like the north part of Israel. This is Israel. And so we just went there, not caring about everything, but having the best time. And we started meeting all of the friends coming from all over the country. And we gathered up. It was amazing. We arrived at 2 in the morning. And, we took our time, drinking, enjoying ourselves before going to dance, because, we're supposed to have 17-hour long festival. And right at the sunrise, I was feeling like I need to use the bathroom. And usually my husband goes like, yeah, you go alone. When I don't need to wait in the line. I just go find a tree. But this time, something else happened, and I'm coming with you, luckily, because that's when everything started. As soon as we got back to where our stuff was, while the music was still happening, you can look up in the sky and just start to see a lot of white dots and hear explosions in the air. And this is an attack conducted by Gaza, by Palestinians, by Hamas, the organization. And it wasn't the usual amount that in Israel you've kind of grown into accepting. You've been to Israel, and I don't know if you've ever experienced this red alerts. It's a siren. And you can,
Yes, we have.
you can just do your everyday life, your routine. All of a sudden you hear this because you're being attacked by rockets and missiles. And this is not something I think I wish upon any person around the world, and I don't think any other country would accept this to happen occasionally. But in Israel, for some reason, people find it's okay. And so a lot of people at the time didn't understand that it's something bigger. But for me, I was just looking up in the sky, and I don't remember what everyone was saying. Whenever there is red alerts, you have to do what's the best practice, and it's the most secure thing to do is go to your home if you have a safe room and just close the door. The door can open from both sides.
Yeah.
It's just concrete walls and a door aimed for protection from the missiles and rockets, not by intruders. If you don't have that, maybe you have a shelter in your building, if your building is a little bit old. And if you don't have that, then you will have public shelters around the street, around the area, in the Gaza area, the Gaza border area. There's a lot just scattered around bus stations, because sometimes when people wait up in the bus and they only have 10-15 seconds of time because it's so close, they have to go backwards to the shelter and just remain safe there. And those public shelters actually appear on the Google Maps. It's a known thing to everyone, and the Hamas terrorists used that information. And going back to the time where it started, I was feeling anxiety. I couldn't listen to what people were saying. I was just looking at the sky, and I remember looking at my friend going away from me just with the crowd. And a lot of people were so confused because you're at the most time that you are relaxed. You feel like you're letting all of your guards down. Music is the key to our souls, to our hearts, and we're just feeling so excited. This is our Saturday, our Jewish holiday, Simchat Torah. You're supposed to be in your most amazing sense of freedom, and they took it away from us because they used it to do the worst attack I think Israel ever experienced. The most people that were killed and slaughtered in the same day since Holocaust days. And we didn't know that at the time, but we just remained there. But a lot of people decided to go, and they were the first ones to meet the terrorists that were already coming from both sides of the streets. They were starting to infiltrate the kibbutzes, which is smaller units of living, like
Yes.
cities, but smaller. And it's more of community vibe. They do everything together. It's amazing place to live in. And those people actually wanted peace more than everyone else. And we were just there for 20 minutes or so. I was so scared, and everyone was trying to reassure me. Ron, my fiance then at the time, was trying to hug me, say it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. He didn't understand, but I had some gut feeling. And then 20 minutes later, someone from the security patrol just came around running to everyone, go home, because as I was saying, a lot of Israelis thought it was just like all the other times, that it would just be over, and the party that they've been looking forward, they've paid a lot of money to, will continue, even though they said the DJ, the stage of the DJ, one of the organizers stopped the music and said to everyone, red alerts, because we didn't hear the alarms, and he kept repeating, the party's done, the party's closed, please go home, but a lot of people didn't listen. They were so drunk, they didn't want to go, like us, but for me it was because I was scared. And then when he said it's dangerous, the security guard, then we have to go, something inside of me switched, and I just decided that it's time to go. I didn't understand what is the danger. For me, the danger I was thinking about is, statistically speaking, when you see hundreds of rockets and missiles in the sky, and Iron Dome can only take down a few, they would prioritize cities, they would prioritize kibbutzes, they probably wouldn't prioritize this forest, this open space. So in my mind, this is not a good place to stay in. And when he said it's too dangerous, go, I just said, okay, let's go. But I wasn't thinking that terrorists are coming to Israel. This is a scenario that no one could imagine would be possible. And we took the time packing our stuff. And when we went to our car, we were lucky enough to have our car close by, but a lot of people didn't have this luxury. And we started driving with our car, and the road was so chaotic. I can't even begin to describe, to seeing a lot of cars on the sides of the roads, a lot of cars U-turning. It was a chaotic ride. And the police even blocked one of the ways, the left way to the northern part of the Gaza Strip. Everyone had to go to the right part. And soon it was also closed because terrorists also came. And we were just stuck there. More than 3,000 young kids like me, families, we were all just stranded there in this area, and the terrorists began to come with bigger numbers and bigger numbers. More than 3,000 terrorists came. They didn't ask us a single question. They didn't care if we wanted peace. What is the reason we're there? What is our even religion? What is our country that we live in? They didn't care because they just came upon whoever they wanted with a big smiles, documenting the entire thing, just killing us in the worst possible ways. And we were lucky. We were lucky because as we were driving, we were passing all of these public shelters, and now we know that the terrorists have already came to those shelters and threw grenades and hid behind because they didn't know that they won't be stopped soon. They tried to do it secretly at first. They would come, throw a grenade, run outside. All this time waiting for trucks to come and to kidnap whoever survives to Gaza. And we didn't see this as we were driving. I can't even understand how we were so ignorant, but maybe it was just to guide us. Maybe God wanted to save us. Maybe the love of my grandparents who passed away a few years ago. I don't know how. But we didn't stop to ask any questions. We didn't stop to ask the police when we came back to the area of the party and continued to drive. Why are you? Why is it not okay to drive there? We didn't stop to ask, even when the cars U-turned right in front of us. We didn't stop to ask them, why are you U-turning? And it's usually things that I do act upon. And when we pulled up and we passed Kibbutz Alumim, the shelter there, it's a dog shelter. It's painted with a dog outside. We noticed someone on the road, and the guys told us it was the four of us in my car, me, Ron, and another couple of friends. And the guy said, don't look, someone is dead on the street. And we said, what can we do? Maybe we can stop. And they said, we don't have place, let's continue to drive. And I wanted to call the police because I wanted to be active, to help this guy. Maybe there is a chance to save him. I didn't know who this guy was at the time. And that's when we started hearing gunshots. They fired at us, but we didn't see from where, but they missed us, luckily. And we were able to bypass them. Ron, not seeing where they come from, just announced it's a terrorist, and he pulled up the gas. And by a miracle, even though the terrorists were already up in the front of the road, scattered, we missed them. They didn't shoot us, and we didn't see them. And even after the incident of the shooting happened, when the cars U-turned, it didn't even cross our minds to ask them, maybe there's other terrorists, maybe this is also dangerous to continue driving forward. We didn't do it. We were pulled over by volunteers from Kibbutz Saad, which is right across Kfar Aza, a kibbutz that suffered great amount of loss. People kidnapped, people were burned there. And they just told us that the road is filled with terrorists. We need to put the car and just run to the kibbutz. And I think that's when I start to see a lot of cars wrecked, a lot of blood in the road, in the cars. I saw maybe 30 cars just in the main road. And we just knew, I had this feeling that we're in the wrong place in the wrong time, and I don't know what's going to happen. We started to hear red alerts again. This time we were in the kibbutz and we knew that there were terrorists, and we were just standing in the middle of the houses, confused. Should we knock on doors? What do you do in this situation? Maybe they know that terrorists are here. What if they don't open the door? What do we do now? And someone was just running in the kibbutz. I don't know what he was running for, but he was just pointing at the direction, saying there's a public shelter just there, just keep running. And we ran there. We saw that this public shelter, it has no doors, and we could see the border of the kibbutz. So in my mind, I'm saying, if I stay here and the terrorists come, they can just shoot us from outside. They don't even have to enter the kibbutz. They can just see us and shoot. And I felt massive pain. I felt so scared. And I don't know if you've ever been close to death. I hope you haven't. But I started to feel like I might not make it. And I wanted to call my parents to say my goodbyes. And my mom didn't pick up at first because only the half side of Israel woke up, and I live a little bit norther to the center. She was actually going for a run and she didn't take her phone with her. And I was calling her, then I called my dad, and he didn't even understand, I think, the severity at the time, because it was just starting they just started, and he was trying to be supportive. He told me to stay with Ron, to keep updating about the situation. And I was just so scared. But I decided to upgrade our chances and to start to find a house that maybe has a safe room. And I went through WhatsApp groups of the time 6 months before I was a student in the area in Beersheba. And Israel is such a small dot in the map. You assume someone knows someone all the time. You meet someone in the street, you go like, oh, where are you from? Oh, you probably know this and this and this. Oh, yeah, so if you're friends of my friends, you're my new friend. This is the vibe in Israel. and I had a feeling that maybe someone will be from this kibbutz in this group. And 2 people responded immediately, 2 girls. One of them was actually, her family was very close to ours, to where we were. So we just went to the family. We stayed there for 24 hours. And that's when we started to understand the severity, that it wasn't a small attack of a few terrorists. It was a well-organized attack. And we started to understand what they're doing in these kibbutzes, and we understood that our time is maybe coming to an end, and we wanted to protect ourselves, but we didn't have any weapon, anything, so we had to take a rolling dough in case they opened the safe room. We took a kitchen knife, and we were just there for 24 hours. But fortunately, they were so close to breaching this kibbutz, but miraculously a tank was driving to the Nova Festival area to help, and he saw that the volunteers were running out of ammunition and the terrorists were reaching the entrance of our kibbutz, and the tank assisted, and the terrorists were dead and ran, and this kibbutz remained safe. But I can't say the same for my friends. Some of my friends were stuck in those public shelters behind the bus stations. We lost 2 friends there, Shani Cooper Wasser and Itai Banjo. And other 2 of my friends did not respond, all 4 of them, because they started to throw grenades at them one time after another. And a hero was there, Aner Shapira, a recent release from IDF. He went to the party, but as my friends now say, that when they knew the terrorists are coming, because the police told them, we're gonna try to hold back the terrorists, you stay here in this shelter. He was trying to calm everyone down. He was saying, I was in the military just recently, don't worry, stay calm, I will do whatever I can to help. He has no weapon, he's drunk. He just went to the Nova Festival, but he was a hero because he kept taking the grenades that was thrown inside, throwing it outside. And at first it was successful, everyone remained okay. But then the terrorists understood that if they hold on the grenade and then throw it inside, that they will be more successful in their mission. And his body was just smashed in the most possible way in the entrance of the shelter. In fact, it was smashed and ruined so much that after they finished kidnapping and shooting everyone, for hours, my friends who did survive, 7 survivors from this shelter, would hear outside Arabic, and they tried to close their eyes, try to pretend to be dead, but no one entered the shelter since, because they saw Ner's body, and they didn't assume that there were survivors there, because it was in such a horrible condition. And he was a true hero, and they started to kidnap people. And when they went to my friend Eitan, he was unconscious from all of the explosions. It was such a small space. Like, imagine 30 people standing in the size of this table. Like, this is the size of those public shelters. There were 30 people there. And when the explosion started to happen, people start to lose their body parts, like Hersh, Zichrono Livracha, God bless his soul, who lost his hand. He was kidnapped alive without a hand. And they were just laying on top of another. And when they came to shake up my friend to see if he was alive, he was unconscious, and they thought he was dead. So they just threw him on the floor. And my friend didn't have the time to close her eyes, and she was the one in the videos that they filmed. They pulled her aside from outside the shelter. They were undecisive of what to do with her. And ultimately, by a miracle, they put her in another car. The car drove to Gaza, and she was put back in the shelter. Then they came back to shoot, and she was in the edge of the shelter. And when they were shooting, they by a miracle missed the 7 of them, and they survived. They lied on top of the bodies for 8 more hours until 3 or something in the afternoon. And the person who rescued them was a dear father searching, I think, for his daughter. I'm not sure if it was a daughter or a son. I think it was a daughter. Searching up for his daughter from the location that they sent, and he found them. He he brought them up to a hospital, and that's when we knew that they're safe. But at the time, we didn't know, and they, from the trauma, didn't know what was happening to our other friends. Their bodies deleted the image from the death of their friends, and for days we thought that our friends were kidnapped. Ultimately, we understood that they died in this shelter. We don't know at what time. We don't know by which attack. They were beautiful souls our age, just wanting to have the best time, the best days. They were just in the beginnings of their life. This is my friend's story, and I came here to share with you because now that social media is chanting up propaganda and misinformation, people want to believe that this didn't happen. People want to close their eyes because what we endured is not something I thought was possible in 2023. This evil, and it's not a resistance, because if it was resistance, it wouldn't be this horrible of murdering people. They filmed it, they posted it, and they sent video links to family members so they could break their hearts and alarm them that they're coming to them next. People had to see their beloved elderlies, their babies, their children being executed live on social media. They weren't scared to publish it. They were proud. And this is our story, and this is my story and my friends. And luckily, my 2 friends survived from this shelter, and the other friend survived. But a lot of people, a lot of young souls were cut short from their lives. And I'm here to share their story. I'm here for the remaining 13 hostages that are still being used as leverage in 2025. And they need to be brought back so their families can have a closure and a proper funeral. And this is my story.
Maya, first of all, thank you very much. I could see emotionally how that took you down a roller coaster, and we appreciate the fact that you came here and you have given us first-hand experience. And as a witness and as a victim of that attack, we can only trust Hashem to give you strength. That is all we can offer right now, prayers. And there is a statement, though, Ambassador, that Maya said that I think is absolutely key, and it's one that not many people like to hear. I've received insults because of the statement I'm about to make. We choose to be ignorant. We as humankind choose to be ignorant. What happened on the 7th of October 2023, 2 years and 17 days ago, is nothing short of a terrorist attack. It was nothing short of an attack on a sovereign nation. And what happened to people, including babies who were taken to Gaza and strangled with bare hands. What we saw when Hamas actually sent these videos on social media. Heck, they even shot them live as people watched them do it. We cannot then turn around, and when women say they killed our children, they killed our elderlies, they killed us, they raped us, the world turns around and say, no, they didn't rape them. Hamas say, by the very virtue of what they showed us that they did, kill and rape, we turn around and say, no, they didn't. I don't believe it's anything short of demonic, in my honest opinion. But it is a psychological problem that this world has, as human beings we have. Once we're emotionally tied to something, we refuse to hear anything else and a differing opinion, especially when that opinion is the truth, because the truth hurts. Having said that, there are concerns why the likes of Maya went through this situation. I had the honor and blessing of going to Israel. It's a spiritual home for me. And when I was there, it's a very small, like Maya said, it's a drop in terms of a nation. How they were unfortunate, in an unfortunate way, that the Nova Festival was happening there. The terrorists didn't know, they happened upon it, and we got to see who they really are because they got a chance to execute what they really wanted to do. What are the measures being put to ensure this doesn't ever happen again before we delve into the latest developments in which we can talk about Israel and annexing the West Bank, just so that Maya and the rest of the people who have gone through this traumatic situation, what have we done? What has the nation of Israel done in order to ensure this doesn't happen ever again? And what's the situation of the hostages, the bodies still being held, 13 of them?
Yeah. First of all, I want to say that listening to Maya, I really had tears in my eyes. And I wanted really to cry because I felt her pain and I felt her suffering and I felt her trauma. And I really appreciate very much her coming over here to share with us publicly her feelings, her emotions, her experiences with us. And I know it's not easy. But I think this is very, very important because people have to listen to the testimony of people like Maya, who really survived that. And she is a young woman here with us today telling us her story. It's not easy for her, but she still does it. And I think that her story reflects the story of so many thousands of Israelis that day of October 7th, when all by a sudden a major and brutal attack was carried out against Israel. At the Nova Festival alone, close to 400 people were killed. 400 people just in a matter of minutes or few hours, not more than that. And many more were abducted to Gaza. So just imagine the magnitude. On that day alone, around 1,200 Israelis lost their lives, and hundreds were taken hostages to Gaza. And I know the suffering of these people had. You know, the hostages were just released now. Many of them were for 2 years held underground in tunnels, no sunlight, no connection to the world, no food. We all remember the footage released by Hamas of one hostage, really, you know, very skinny. You see that he's skinny, sick, and afraid.
Digging
his own grave in a dark tunnel, waiting for his death. And, you know, for us in Israel, this is a wound. This is a national trauma that we cannot let it go. And we still remember that there are more bodies of hostages still held in Gaza, and we want the return of all of them. And this is the most important thing, to start a national process of healing in Israel.
And I'm sorry, because of time, I really am pushing you, and I didn't want to interrupt Maya, because I think that is something that had to be heard. I've had I wouldn't call it honor, but a blessing to see some of the raw footage of what actually transpired. And that's why I stand my firm ground. It's unacceptable. Mm-hmm. The things that Maya and the rest of the people had to go through, forget those who spent over 700 days in captivity. It is humane, unacceptable, and I will die on that hill without shame. Mm-hmm. All right? But just out of the need to answer a few things. One, the ceasefire, both sides being accused of breaking the ceasefire, which I have to say, it all starts somewhere. And if you follow the start, then you will find that it is Hamas who broke the ceasefire when they first attacked some IDF soldiers. So let's not lose focus on that. However, there are accusations that both sides have then since gone on to, break that ceasefire, leading up to J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the U.S., visiting Israel. And on the same day, actually, of that visit, I think, I stand to be corrected, Knesset decide, hey, we're going to annex the West Bank. What's the situation where that is concerned? Okay,
so let me start by saying that we fully adhere to the agreement that was achieved. With the help of the President of the United States, Donald Trump. We very much appreciate his engagement, involvement, and support to achieving this accord, this agreement, and we adhere to it, and we want to stick to it, and we want it to be fulfilled. But what we have seen is that Hamas, from the very beginning, didn't really honored it. The first sign was not releasing all hostages. So there are still bodies in Gaza. I mean, you can't imagine how this is a traumatic issue, an important issue in Israel. We want all of these. We are talking about dead hostages, but we still want them back in Israel to be buried properly, and Hamas didn't honor that. In addition to that, Hamas really was the one to start violating the ceasefire by shooting and committing actions of military nature against Israel. We have no intention whatsoever to violate this agreement, and we want this agreement to stick. We want peace to return to the region, and we want also to see the extension of the Abraham Accords. These are accords also sponsored by the President of the United States in his first term in office, Donald Trump, with other Arab countries in the region. So we are all looking forward to seeing the expansion of peace in the region. And I can tell you honestly, what people in Israel want is just to live normal life. I mean, we are tired of wars. We have been attacked from 7 different fronts in these last 2 years, 7 different fronts. I don't think that this is something any other country in the world has suffered, at least in the last decades. And so our main goal, our main strive as a nation, as people, as citizens, is really to live in peace in the region, to have hostages come back, and we want to see the demilitarization of Hamas, the demilitarization of the Gaza Strip. Hamas is a brutal terrorist organization. Believe me, they
What do
are
you think
awful.
is the problem? What do you think is the problem that is stopping people from actually just going and demilitarizing them completely? Because we've seen even Arab nations who want that to happen. The US wants that to happen. Why are we not just doing that? Because from the get-go, release the hostages, including the dead ones. They played around with it.
Yeah.
For Hamas, it's all about squeezing out as much pain for the other people as is possible, whether it's psychological or physical, whatever can be done. They are breaking ceasefire. They have done atrocious acts. Why can the world, the nations, and the powers that be just go in and demilitarize them? During the ceasefire, they were killing Palestinians. They were shooting them in the streets. So what is it?
They are a very brutal and cruel people.
Why can't they be stopped, that organization?
Well, I think that this is the whole idea of the agreement sponsored by the United States to move in international forces that will demilitarize the Gaza Strip. And also one of the basic terms, and this is very important, basic terms of the agreement is the Hamas will not be in power again in Gaza. And if you look at the charter, this is the most important document of Hamas, this chapter calls for the elimination of the state of Israel. As long as it exists in this charter, Hamas will remain a danger not only for Israel but for the region. And just let me tell you another thing. Hamas and Islamic Jihad and Hezbollah have all been sponsored by Iran. Iran is a very negative force in the region, sponsoring the Houthis, sponsoring Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad and others, training them and fomenting terrorism and instability in the region.
Listen, this is Ambassador Gideon, who we would love to spend more time with. I think you definitely have to come back so that we can actually have that discussion with Iran and rumors of the possible nuclear programs being reignited with more knowledge now, considering the US and Israel, what they did. So they're probably going to plan themselves a bit better. We can talk about Hezbollah. We can talk about Hamas. We can talk about the political situation. The US Vice President Vance and President Trump both calling it, let me actually find that statement because it was quite interesting. Vance saying the stunt, I personally take some insult to it. The policy of the Trump administration is that the West Bank will not be annexed by Israel, but then we know that the Knesset decided to do something differently. In fact, he called it what Knesset decided to vote for, the annexing of West Bank, a political stunt that is a very stupid political stunt. End of quote from DJ Vance. Trump himself is said to be angered. So we would love to have this whole conversation from a political angle. What I really want us to appreciate and stop at is that fact that we had a moment with a survivor. I've had that with a number of them, including a mother whose son recently came back home. I was very happy. She was fighting for her soldier son throughout, and her heart is whole, and I'm happy for that. There are pains that cannot be taken away. People who lost their lives, loved ones who are yet to be returned to be buried in a very classy place, in the manner that they should. But you are able, in spite of everything and the psychological effect that it must have on you, to come and share that experience so that the world cannot claim not to have heard that it did happen. It is the truth, and I was there. And that's why we value your story, Maya.
Thank you so much.
And we can only pray. I personally will pray for your strength and the strength of your family. My greetings and to your husband and your parents, and to Israel and all those who are still waiting for their family members to be brought back home. We can only wait and hope that sanity at one point will prevail. Thank you, Maya, very much for coming through.
Thank you.
Ambassador, I'll say thanks for now, because I know I'll be seeing you
Asante
soon.
sana.
It's good to have you in studio for the first time. Welcome to Kenya. It's our first meeting here. We met in Israel, but it's great to see you, and I know you'll do an amazing job. Look forward to speaking to you again very soon. That is Capital in the Morning. Tough way to start the morning, but truth, more often than not, is not comfortable. The question is, will you accept it, or will you turn your eyes away from it? We've seen the latter, and we've seen the effect. Wisen up.
All right, here we go. Rick D's taking you to number one on the countdown this week. Taylor Swift is all the news. You see what was happening? Life of a Showgirl, number one. Biggest album release, they say, of all time. But there's more. In fact, we put